Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. I want to ask each of you, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show, but you didn't? Doug?
I'm a week late. What I should have said on 2 weeks' show when we were talking about the big graduation speech was, I can give some advice on 2 Lees that would make outstanding commencement speeches. One of them is Howard Lee. I read his book. It is one of the most fascinating reads, and if you want to be inspired, that is a man who could do it. And the other one is Legally Armis out of Wilson, who, to my knowledge, has never done a commencement speech. If you could get in front of a group of people and tell how he can raise 3 families selling hot dogs out of a place so small you have to go outside to change your mind, I think it might be the most inspiring speech I ever had. So there's 2 Lees for commencement speeches.
So we're giving all kinds of plugs to Lee Socrates, Galarmis, and Dick's Hot Dogs. Is that what you're saying?
Well, but I also did Howard's book, too. It's a good read.
Chris, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, we talked about former Justice Beverly Lake changing his mind on the death penalty. One of the things we didn't talk about is one of the reasons we don't have many states don't execute people anymore is they can't get the drugs. And recently, it's been a few weeks ago, I believe it was Pfizer was one of the last companies to announce that they're no longer going to be selling the drugs to states to put people to death. So part of this actually is a technological, oddly of all things, and it's forced states to think about going back to the firing squad. It's forced North Carolina to buy its drugs in secret. There's on the black market, some states are now buying drugs. So I think one of the demises of the death penalty might actually be we still don't know the best way to put somebody to death.
Interesting. John, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
We talked about proposals to change the tuition policies and emphasis in the University of North Carolina system, and that there's pushback among some alumni and supporters of historically black institutions and the historically Indian institution, University of North Carolina at Pembroke. It's important to think about the fact that if we want to celebrate, if organizations want to continue to support and celebrate historically black colleges and universities, there are several private ones in North Carolina that deserve their attention and support. Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, Bennett College, for example, in Greensboro, Shaw University in Raleigh. These would be appropriate private institutions where those kinds of traditions can be maintained, those particular kinds of settings, which probably are really good for some students, can be maintained. And I would urge people to direct their energies in those areas. And
while we're talking, I can't neglect St. Augustine's here in Raleigh because we'll get gigged if we don't. What do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, 2 things. You know, we were talking about tell us something we don't know. What I was going to say in that segment, and switched over to the helicopter and the state plane, I keep hearing that there's movement, Tom, out of DOT about putting together a major push on our interstate highway systems, on finding funding formulas that will fix I-95, that will fix I-85 between Chapel Hill over to Hillsborough, the Concord all the way up to Salisbury component, and then the 73-74 corridor, as well as the new 95, 395 or 495 corridor from Raleigh all the way up to Norfolk. And that will be a cornerstone for the next governor, whether it's McCrory or whether it's Cooper. I think there's going to be a whole lot of emphasis on interstate funding. And then the other thing was talking about college tuitions. I had breakfast with Mort Congleton from Wake Tech a couple of days ago, and just the value in our community college system is so important that a real cost-saving measure for students is to look at community college as a 2-year basic college institution and then transfer out from Wake Tech or from Johnston Community or from Central Carolina into one of our state's schools. Great value.
Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.